Hi guys, I Aziz welcome you to Codemaster. In this video, I am going to talk about HashMap and linked HashMap. In this video, I will explain what is HashMap, what is linked HashMap, what is the difference between HashMap and linked HashMap, how they internally works, what are the features that HashMap and linked HashMap offers, and what are the most commonly used method that we can call on HashMap and linked HashMap. So guys, if you are willing to learn HashMap and linked HashMap, then this video is for you. So make sure to watch this video till the end. So let's get started. Alright, so guys, let's begin this video with this collections hierarchy diagram. So if you look at this collections hierarchy diagram, you will see that map interface is the topmost interface in this hierarchy. And map interface does not extend any of the collection interface or iterable interface. Map interface is the individual interface in itself. Now there are three classes that implements map interface. First one is the hash map, second one is the linked hash map, and third one is the tree map. We will discuss the tree map collection class in upcoming videos. In today's video, we are only focused on hash map class and linked hash map class. So hash map is the first class that implements map interface, and linked hash map is the second class that implements map interface and extend hash map. This means linked hash map has all the features that are available in hash map. In addition to that, linked hash map has some more features that are specific to linked hash map. So there is a subtle difference between hash map and linked hash map. In today's video, we will see hash map and linked hash map in detail. So let's move on. So let's start with the very first question, that is, what is hash map? Well, hash map is a collection of key value pair. Or the other way to understand hash map is a linear data structure that allow us to store key value pair and provide big O(1) constant time on search, insert and delete operation. Okay? So basically, hash map is a data structure that allows us to store key value pair so that we can search, insert and delete in a constant time. So let's understand this with an example. So let's say you have three types of fruits: apple, orange and banana, and you want to count the frequency of all the fruits. So you have 5 apples, you have 10 oranges and you have 20 bananas. So whenever you want to store these type of data that has key and value, in that cases we can use hash map. So here your apple is a key and 5 is a value. Orange is a key, 10 is a value. Banana is the key and 20 is the value. So hash map is basically designed to store such type of information which has key and value. And cherry on the cake is you can search, insert, delete these piece of information like key and value in big O(1) constant time. Okay, so I hope this is clear to you. Now the next question is how hash map is actually implemented in Java. Well, hash map is implemented in Java using hashing and hash table. So for those who don't know about hashing and hash table, I have created a dedicated video on hashing and hash table. If you have not watched that video, then I highly recommend to watch that video, come back here and continue watching this video. You will find the link of that video by clicking on the I button, or you can find the video in the current playlist you are watching. Now back on the video. So just to give you a context, let me recall once again what is hashing, what is hash function and what is hash table. So hashing is just a process of transforming a key into hash code using a hash function. Okay. And now what is hash function? So hash function is nothing but it is an algorithm which performs some mathematical operations on a given key to transform it into a hash code. And what is hash table? Hash table is a linear data structure that is used to store key value pair in an array in an associative manner. Okay. So as I said that hash map is implemented using hashing and hash table. So that means hash map also uses array internally and store all the key value pair in an associative manner. So I hope by now hashing, hash function, hash table is clear to you. Now let's move on. Now before I talk how hash map and linked hash map actually works, let's have a look at some of the terminologies that are used in context of hash map. Okay, so let's begin with the first terminology, that is key value. So in context to hash map, we call key value pair as entry. So whenever we have key value pair, we call it entry. Okay. The next terminology is bucket. Okay. So as I said that hash table is implemented using array. So if we have array like this and there are 4 cells in this array, so each of the cell is called bucket in context to hash map. So this is one bucket, this is one bucket, this is one bucket, and this is one bucket. So there are 4 buckets in this array. Now the next terminology is capacity. So as we can see that the size of this array is 4 and size is exactly equal to capacity. So in context to hash map, we call the size of array as capacity. Okay, so far so clear. Now the next terminology is load factor. Now a load factor is a key that defines when to resize the array. So let me elaborate load factor. So let's say we have an array of size 4 and the load factor is 0.75. Okay. So if you remember from previous videos of array list, what happens? Let's say there is an array list of size 4 and we entered all the elements on the array list. So now our array list gets full. So what happens when array list gets full? It's going to resize itself by some factor. So the same concept is applied in the hash map also. But here in hash map we use a load factor. Now here load factor defines when to resize array. So internally hash map computes threshold on every insert operation. So right now the threshold of these two values are 4 into 0.75, that is equal to 3. So let's say we have array size of 4 and load factor of 0.75, the threshold comes out to be 3. So this means hash map operates normally up to 3 entries are inserted into hash map. As soon as you are going to enter 4th entry into hash map, it's internally resize itself. So that is where the load factor comes into picture. So it's going to use a load factor in every insert operation to find the threshold, and according to threshold it resizes itself internally. And why is it so? Because internally hash map uses dynamic size arrays, and by nature dynamic size arrays are resizable arrays. Okay, so this is the use of load factor. Now let's move on to the next terminology, that is hashing. So as I said that hashing is nothing but a process of transforming key into hash code. So what is the reason of transforming key into hash code? Because we are storing key value pair in arrays. So to store a key value pair in arrays, we need to find the index at which a particular key value pair is stored. Okay, so that is why hash map internally computes the hash code of key, and that hash code is nothing but a index of an array at which the specific key value pairs should be inserted. Okay, now the next terminology is rehashing. So rehashing is similar to hashing. So when we apply hashing to already inserted entries, then we call it rehashing. I will explain rehashing in detail in a bit. Now the next terminology is collision. Now this is really interesting to understand. So guys, what happens sometimes that you have two key value pair, okay? Key value and key value. And unfortunately, both the key value pairs generate the same hash code. So whenever this is happened, then this phenomenon is called collision. Now imagine that both the key value pairs generate the hash code of 1, but we have only one cell in the array that represents the index 1. So how are we going to store two key value pairs at index 1? So HashMap has solution to this problem, and we will discuss it in a bit. So these are all the most common terminologies that we normally use in context to HashMap. Now let's move on to the next topic, and in this topic we will actually understand how HashMap and linked HashMap actually internally works. Okay, so for the sake of understanding how HashMap works, so we assume that we have an array of size 4. So this means the size of array and capacity are equal to 4. Okay, and we are also assuming the load factor is equal to 0.75. And we are assuming that our hash function is pretty simple. That is, it is simply doing modulus of key with capacity. Okay, but remember, in Java the default capacity of HashMap is 16 and the default load factor is 0.75. That is same as here we have taken. Okay, now our array is ready and the size of array is 4. Our hash function is ready and the load factor is 0.75. Now let's try to insert one key value pair into this hash map, okay? And the key value pair is, the key is 8 and the value is the spelling of 8, okay? So this is our key and this is our value. Now the first thing hash map does is, it's going to compute the hash code of a key. So in our case, key is 8 and capacity is 4. So hash function does 8 modulus 4 and it comes out to be 0. So this means this key value pair should be inserted at index 0, okay? But before it enter key value pair, it's going to create a node, okay? So here node is nothing but it's an object. So on somewhere on the heap memory, hash map internally creates a node and this node contains 4 fields. First one is the hash of the key, that is 0, the key itself, that is 8, the value itself, that is the spelling of 8, and there is one more field, that is next, and the next is assigned to null. Okay, I will explain what is the significance of this next in a bit. Okay, so this is object and this object is created somewhere on the heap. Now the address of this object is going to inserted at the position 0. You can see that the reference of this object is stored here. Okay, now the really cool thing about hash map is we can do this operation in big of one constant time. And why is it so? Because this is the array and array stores all the elements in a contiguous memory location. Okay, and because of the contiguous memory location, we have an advantage of random access support. So we can access any index of the RAM in constant time. So far so clear. Now this key value pair is inserted at position 0. Now let's try to insert 9 and 9 key value pair. Okay, so in this case again it's going to repeat the same process of computing the hash code, creating the node, and after computing the hash code it comes out to be 9 modulus 4, that is equal to 1. So the address of this object is going to insert at position 1. Okay, like this. Now let's repeat the same process for next key value pair, that is 10 and 10. Okay, so after computing hash code, 10 modulus 4 comes out to be 2. So the reference of this object is going to be inserted at this position. So far so clear. Now let's move on and insert the new key value pair, that is 16 and the 16. Now if we compute the hash code of 16 modulus 4, that comes out to be 0. But guys, if you look at this array, we already have one reference on position 0. Okay, now the question over here is, how are we going to handle this scenario? So guys, the state in which two distinct key value pair generates same hash code, we call it collision. Okay, so here you can see that 16 and 8 collides with each other. Now the thing is, we have to manage two objects at one location. Okay, now let's see how hash map handle these collisions. So what happens? This is where the next field comes into picture. Okay, so what hash map internally does? It's going to create a new object of this key value pair 16 and 16. The object has 4 fields, hash of that is 0, key is 16, value is 16, and the value of next is null. Now we already have object of 8 that is stored at bucket 0. Okay, so what happens? The null field of this object is going to point this object, and that is 16. And the reference of 8 is already stored at bucket 0. So basically we are chaining two objects. So this is a technique that is used by HashMap in case of hash collision. So whenever collision happens, it's going to add all the entries in this chain. So let's say one more key value pair comes in and the hash code of that key value pair comes out to be 0. So what it does, it's going to create an object of it, link that object to this chain, and now this next pointer is pointing to the new key value pair. So this is how HashMap internally handles collision. So guys, now if you look at these two objects carefully, you will see that these two objects are nothing but a node of singly linked list, isn't it? What happens in singly linked list? One object keeps a reference of object next to it. So this is what happening here. Okay. the bucket 0 keeps the address of this node, and this node is keeping the address of its next node. So ultimately, HashMap internally uses singly linked list to handle the collisions and to store all the objects that has same hash in a chain. So bucket 0 has a reference of node 8, bucket 1 has a reference of node 9, and bucket 2 has a reference of node 10. I hope this is clear to you. If this is clear to you, so now let's move on and try to insert a new key value pair in the HashMap. So the new key value pair is 11 and 11. So if we compute the hash code of 11, it comes out to be 11 modulus 4, that is equal to 3. And as I said that HashMap internally computes threshold in every insert operation, so as it. So this time the threshold is equal to 4 into 0.75, that is equal to 3. And as per the HashMap implementation, if your entries go beyond threshold, then it needs to be resized. So you can see that we have already 3 entries before this point. And if we try to insert this key value pair into this HashMap, our key is going to be 4. So this is the moment the HashMap internally resizes itself. So for the sake of understanding this example, let's say the size of array is indexed by 2. So previously the size of array was 4, so 4 plus 2 is equal to 6. So the new capacity of the internal array is 6 and the size of the array remains 3, because at present the number of entries in all the buckets are 3. Okay. But guys, now here is one problem, that if we increment the size of array by 2 and it becomes 6, now if you compute the hash code of key 8 with the 6, it gives 2. And if you go to index 2 or bucket 2, you will get the reference of object 10. So this means the old hashing is not going to work if we increase the size of array by some number. Okay. So this is where the concept of rehashing comes into picture. So now what we have to do? We have to compute the hash code of all the existing key and insert it into a new buckets. And then we are going to insert the new key value pair, that is 11. So let's do the rehashing of all the existing key. So when we do hashing of 8 with capacity 6, it comes out to be 2. For 9, it comes out to be 3. For 10, it comes out to be 4. For 11, it comes out to be 5. And for 16, it comes out to be 0. So we are going to insert 8 at bucket 2, that is here, and object 9 at bucket 3, that is here, and object 11 at bucket 4, that is here, and object 11 at bucket 5, and object 16 at bucket 0. So you can see the difference here, that before at bucket 0 we were storing object 8 and object 16, but here after increasing the size of array and after doing rehashing, we are storing object 8 at bucket 2 and object 16 at bucket 0. So this is the concept of rehashing that is used internally by HashMap to move all the existing entry to a new bucket, so that when user tries to get the key value pair at a specific position, it gets the correct result. So guys, this is the entire process that is followed by HashMap internally to store entries into the HashMap. So far I have covered all the terminologies that are used in HashMap, that are key value, that we call entry. You already know about bucket, capacity, load factor, hashing, rehashing, and collision. I hope all of these terminologies are clear to you. Now let's try some more operations. For example, I want to search a key that is 9. So in this case also, HashMap computes the hash code of 9 with the current capacity, that is 6. It comes out to be 3. So as soon as HashMap gets this index, it directly go to index 3 or bucket 3 to get the object stored or inserted at that particular bucket or index. Okay, and we can perform this operation in big of 1 time complexity. And you already know the reason, that this is an array. And if we have array, then we have advantage of random access support. And by going to index 3 or bucket 3, we get the object back, that is 9. Now let's try to delete one key value pair from the HashMap. In this case also, HashMap is going to compute the hash code with the current capacity, that is 6. So 11 mod 6 is going to be 5. So because we have advantage of random access support, we directly jump to the index 5 or bucket 5 to get the object or that is inserted at this bucket. So we get 11 and our work is done. And we can also perform the delete operation in big of 1 constant time. So guys, if you closely observe all of the operations, we are doing insert operation in big of 1 constant time, then we are doing search operation also in big of 1 time and delete operation also in big of 1 time. So that is the main advantage of HashMap, that this data structure beats all the data structures like ArrayList, linked list and binary search tree in terms of insert, search and delete operations, because no other data structure provide insert, search and delete operation in big of 1 constant time. So guys, I hope the entire process of hashing, searching, deleting, inserting the element is clear to you. Now let's move on to the next topic, that is how linked HashMap actually works. Well, linked HashMap exactly work like HashMap. There is a subtle difference between HashMap and linked HashMap that I will show you. So let's assume we have an array of size 4 and we want to insert 3 key value pairs, that one is 8, second one is 9 and third one is 10. So what do? We compute the hash code of 8. So 8 modulus 4 is going to be 0. So we are going to insert the address of this object into this bucket. Okay, 0. That is 0. And similarly, we are going to insert the reference of object 9 into bucket 1, because 9 mod 4 is equal to 1. And as same as 9, we are going to compute the hash code of 10. It comes out to be 10 modulo 4 is equal to 2. So that we are going to store the reference of this object to this bucket at index 2 or at index bucket or at bucket 2. Okay, so far so clear. This is what we were doing in the HashMap also. Now if you look at these node carefully, apart from next field, we have 2 more fields, that is after and before. And we already know what is the use of next field here. Next field is used to store the reference of the node that is next to it. Okay. Now the question over here is, what is the purpose of after and before field here? Well, after and before field is used to store the reference of the node that is after to this node and the node that is before to this node. So let's assume the first object you have inserted in the linked HashMap is 8. Okay. And the second object that you have inserted in the linked HashMap is 9. Okay. So in that case, what happens? The after field is referencing to this object, because this object comes after this object. Okay. And the before field of this object stores the reference of the node that is before this object, and that object is 8. So basically both the objects are keeping the reference of the node that is after the current node or before the current node. So after the object 8, the next node is 9, and before the node 9, the previous node is 8. So far so clear. Now let's imagine that the third node you are going to insert in linked HashMap is this one. Okay, with key 10. So in that case, the after field of object 9 is going to store the reference of node 10. Okay, and the before field of node 10 is going to store the reference of node 9. So do you guys realize what is happening over here? If you look at these nodes carefully, you will see that these nodes are nothing but it's a doubly linked list. Okay, so these are the nodes of doubly linked list, and these after and before are the pointers to store the reference of previous node and the next node. So guys, you might be asking that if everything was working fine with the only one field that is next, then why we need these 2 more fields that is after and before? Well, first thing is linked HashMap extends the HashMap. This means all the features that are available in HashMap is also available in linked HashMap. And the second thing is linked HashMap has some extra features that are specific to linked HashMap, and the extra feature is used to maintain the order of the insertion of the entries. Okay, so you can see here that you inserted the object 8 first in the linked HashMap, then you inserted object 9 in the linked HashMap, and then you inserted object 10 in the linked HashMap. And when you try to iterate over all the entries in the linked HashMap, you will get all the entries in the same order you have inserted. So to maintain the insertion order, doubly linked list is used inside of linked HashMap. So this is the only difference between hash map and the linked hash map, that in hash map there is no guarantee of the order of all the entries, but the linked hash map makes the guarantee to maintain the insertion order of all the entries. So that is why doubly linked list is used in linked hash map and singly linked list is used in hash map as well as linked hash map to resolve the collision by maintaining the chain of all the nodes. So guys, I hope by now the working of linked hash map and hash map is clear to you. So guys, there is one more advantage that we get when using linked hash map, and that is we can change the order mode in linked hash map. So the default order mode of linked hash map is insertion mode. So when we traverse all the entries in the linked hash map, so linked hash map makes a guarantees of giving all the entries in a insertion order. And the second order mode of linked hash map is access order. Okay. So in this mode, it's going to give all the entries in the order we have accessed it. Okay. So let's understand the access order with this example. So let's say we have 3 entries in the linked hash map. First is 8, then 9 and then 10. And we have recently accessed one entry that is 8. Okay. So what it does internally, it's simply going to move the entry 8 to the last of the linked list. This means the 8 is the most recently used entry and 9 and 10 is the least recently used entry. So when we iterate through all the entries of the linked hash map, we get 9, 10 and 8. That is why we call it access order mode. So we have accessed 8 recently. That is why it is giving entries from the least recently used entries to the most recently used entries. Okay. And because of this feature, linked hash map is used to implement LRU cache. Okay. And what is the full form of LRU cache? LRU stands for least recently used cache. So let's assume that we are using linked hash map for a caching solution and the size of the linked hash map is 3 and 8 is the most recently used entry and 9 and 10 is the least recently used entry. Okay. Now we want to add one more entry into this linked hash map. So what it does, it's simply going to delete the least recently used entry to make a space for new entry. So this is how we can use linked hash map to create a LRU cache. And what happens in LRU cache? The least recently used entry will be deleted to make a space for new entry, and all the most recently used entry is going to move to the end of the linked list. So I hope the concept of LRU cache is clear to you. So guys, if everything is clear to you, now let's move on and see some of the features of hash map and linked hash map. So the first feature of hash map and linked hash map is fast access time. So as we know that linked hash map and hash map uses dynamic size array internally and the hashing concept, that is why we get search, insert, delete operation in big of one time. And the next feature is only unique keys are allowed in hash map and linked hash map. So this means we cannot insert the duplicate keys into the hash map or linked hash map. Okay. Now the next feature is duplicate values are allowed but not keys. So it is same as this point. Okay. That duplicate keys are not allowed but duplicate values are allowed. Okay. The next feature is only one null key is allowed. So guys, we cannot enter more than one null key in the hash map as well as linked hash map, but we can insert multiple null values. Okay. So we have this key and value. So in place of value, we can add multiple null, but we cannot add more than one null in place of key. Now the next and the last feature is what is the order of association? Is it maintained by hash map or linked hash map? So in case of hash map does not make any guarantee of the order of all the entries that are present in hash map, but linked hash map makes the guarantee of order of all the entries that are present in linked hash map. And why is it so? Because linked hash map internally use doubly linked list to maintain the order of all the entries. So these are the most common features that are available in hash map and linked hash map. Now if this is clear to you, then let's move on to the next section where we discuss all the common methods that we can call on hash map and linked hash map. So let's begin with the first method. So the first method is put method. So the put method takes key and value as an argument and it is used to insert the new key value pair in the linked hash map. And if the key is already present in the linked hash map or hash map, it's simply going to replace the value associated with that key. Okay. The next method is get method. So get method is used to get the value associated with specified key. Next is empty. Is empty method is used to check if the hashmap or linked hashmap is empty or not. Next is remove method. Remove method is used to remove the value that is associated with specified key. Now the next method is contains key. So contains key is used to check whether the specified key is present in the hashmap or linked hashmap or not. Now all of these method takes big of one time to perform the operation. Now the next method is contains value. Now contains value is used to check whether the given value is present in hashmap or not. So to find that value or linked hashmap has to traverse all the key value pair present in the hashmap. That is why the time complexity of this method is big of 1. Okay. Now the next one is replace method. Now replace method is used when a specified key is present in the hashmap, and if the key is present, then it's going to replace the value of this key with the specified value. Okay. Now the next one is size method. Size method is used to find the number of entries present in the hashmap or linked hashmap. Now the next method is key set. Key set method is used to get the set view of all the keys that are present in hashmap or linked hashmap. Similarly, values method is used to get the set view of values that are present in hashmap and linked hashmap. And last, entry set. Entry set is a method that is used to get the set view of all the entries that are present in hashmap and linked hashmap. And all of these methods also takes big of n time to find the set view of key, set view of value and set view of entries. Now the next method is get or default method. Now this method is used to get the value that is associated with the specified key. If the given key is not present in the hashmap, then it's going to return the default value that is provided in the argument of this method. Now the next method is clear method. So this is the last method, and this method is used to clear all the entries present in the hashmap and linked hashmap. So guys, these are the most commonly used method that we can call on hashmap and linked hashmap. So in next video, we are going to see hands-on demo of all the methods that we have discussed so far. So guys, I hope by now you understood that what is hashmap, what is linked hashmap, what is the difference between hashmap and linked hashmap, how both the hashmap works internally, what are the features they offer, and what are the most common method that we can call on hashmap and linked hashmap. So guys, this is all from my side. If you learned something valuable from this video, then hit the like button in order to make YouTube algorithm happy. Please subscribe to the channel and don't forget to click the bell icon so my friend you never miss any upcoming videos. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.